A crowd of over 15,000 saw the Minnesota Timberwolves take on the Charlotte Bobcats. I thought it would be fun to follow their announcer, Rod Johnson, around. But first, let's hear how Rod got his job.
Actually, I was driving my 12-year-old son Corey home from baseball practice, and we heard on the radio, your chance to be PA announcer for the Timberwolves. And my son Corey looked at me and says, Dad, you got to go for it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds interesting. This was a Thursday evening. So Friday morning I called the Timberwolves and I said, so what's the story? And they said, well, you have to have a tape in, an audition tape in by the end of business today. And I'm like, okay. And I was going to work. So at noon I went home and I quick made a tape. And my wife Bernie hand delivered it to Target Center that afternoon. So we got it in on time. I heard they had about 250 tapes. They took 8 people out of those audition tapes, and then they asked us to come and do what they called an NBA Summer Showcase, which is a tournament for rookies and new players, and it's in the summer, and they had it at Target Center. So they said they wanted me to come up on a Wednesday and do a half. So I came up and I did one half, went home. Next day I get a call from the Timberwolves saying, we liked what we heard, can you come back Friday and do a whole game? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And they said, you know, if you need any tickets, let us know. And I said, I'll give you a call back. And I called them back and said, you know, I could use like 25 tickets because I have a lot of family and in-laws. So they, I don't know if that helped or not, but so they provided me with a lot of tickets. Went up Friday. I announced the whole game. And after the game Friday, I met with them and they said, well, we've narrowed it down to 2. And they said, we're going to wait for our vice president to get back into town and then we will call you within a couple of weeks. And that was a long couple of weeks. And finally I got the call and it said, yes, you've got the job. And I remember my sons were excited. We were all excited. And I said, okay, that is great. I said, but I got to know. I said, who was the other finalist? Jesse Ventura. So that was before he was elected governor. So he went on to become governor, but I got the Timberwolves announcing job, which I still have, and I think my job's more fun.
And Rod has some stories about the players, too.
Different players in the 16 years that I've worked there, and a lot of good players. I mean, I'm not only good players, but players with a good heart and good people. I remember Kevin Garnett, who played for us for years, and we had an open scrimmage and practice that was open to the public. It was free, so people could come into Target Center, and I went up to announce it, and I always get there early. And I was sitting courtside just going over some notes, and they brought in 12 severely handicapped kids in wheelchairs, and they put them all along the court so they could watch it. And of course the first player out to warm up was Kevin Garnett, and he comes dribbling out and he took a look over at the wheelchairs and he tucked the basketball under his arm and he went up and he hugged every one of those kids. They had tears of joy streaming down their faces, and he didn't do it for the camera, he didn't do it for the media. There's nobody in there besides these kids, Kevin Garnett and myself, and I thought, you know, that shows where his heart is. And those 12 kids were just, you know, just so thrilled to have a, you know, player like that do that for them. So there are good players. They're good, you know, good-hearted players out there too.
Now let's find Rod. It's quite a trick to keep up with him. He usually starts his shift around 3 p.m. for a 7 o'clock game when he picks up his game notes and works in the media room preparing for the game, like getting the pronunciations of all the players' names correct. About 4 p.m. he attends the game operations meeting in a boardroom where they go over everything happening that night. No other reporters have ever been allowed in this meeting. Yes! Around 4:20, he goes over to the bar 508 for their pregame meal. By 4:45, Rod is back at Target Center to pick up some bottled water, head courtside for more preparations for the game, to set up his mics and announcement portfolio. From 5 to 6 p.m., players from both teams are on the court shooting around. At 6:15, the referee checks the replay status, and then Rod starts making the pregame announcements. At 6:45, the teams re-enter the court. Rod confirms the starters for that night. At 7:03, the horn sounds, followed by military recognition, the national anthem, and the starting lineups. Got that? Let's go! We'll see some of the other folks from Cannon Falls up in the suites.
Ticket Central right now for your season tickets.
Watch the hand signals of the game presentation manager, Chadwick Folkstead.
Welcome to Minnesota Timberwolves
Or you could just watch this. Now, I was located on the news media platform, behind Sid Hartman and some other big guys, so I moved out to get some better shots. Yes, the Wolves won, and I think we were all pretty tired. But what a great time we had! Thanks to all who took part in our program, and thanks to you for watching Along the Way with Rosie.